Welcome to another episode of White Lithium Eurotrash. Today, the subject is a subject of inches. And more importantly, I'm talking about inches of travel in the Saab 900 clutch pedal. Because here's the thing. All my viewers know I own two Saab 900s, an 84 and an 86. And one thing I can tell you for sure is that the 84 car has a much longer pedal travel than the 86 car, this white 86 does. And the question is why? You know, and I'm a member of the Saab 900 forum on Facebook, the one that has, 25,000 followers. And which has been so helpful to me, by the way. Just talking to the guy from Red Arrow, Saab Parts, he's going to hook me up with a couple things, and I'm like still struggling on that AC bracket, by the way. But so the question is why, okay? So you take here, and it just doesn't have that much travel. Let's kind of get under here, and let's start and just ask ourselves, does everything seem normal? Because here's what happens, okay? I can bleed this clutch, and we're going to do this today. And I have my beautiful follower, my beautiful partner Liston with me today, and she can help me. But I can bleed the clutch, and it will momentarily have a better travel. So let's quantify it first. Okay. Alright, so that's what I need until I can kind of do this back bend out of here. You know, I might just take this seat out really quick.
Do you want me to keep rolling?
No. Are you rolling? So, we gotta be able to figure out what's going on. So, we're gonna remove some items from under here and then get a good look at the clutch pedal assembly.
Okay. This is not a good idea.
I need to get this air vent off down here, but I think I'm gonna have to get this kick panel off first. So the first thing I'm doing is taking out this bolt right here, and then I'm gonna take out some other bolts, which I'm not really sure. Right now I'm gonna take off this nut, which is down in here. This thing has immediately broken off. We're gonna come over here, do the same thing. Maybe this one won't break. And hey, luckily when they fall, which they inevitably will, they don't get stuck in anything. Okay, so that's what it should have looked like. So then begs the question of what this is doing there. This is makeshift. Somebody has made that makeshift, perhaps. Just the removal of this bad boy right here. What is holding you on, my friend? What is holding you on? Interesting. Problem is with a fucking car like this is that so many idiots have worked on it over the years that they've broken enough things that sometimes you can't even tell what holds it together. So to remove this part, you actually have to take out both of these screws, but because, of course, the aforementioned idiot had previously broken one of these off, you only have to take, I personally only have to take off one of them. We will delicately place these over here. Oh, and we will lose the screw immediately. This whole situation was going to be like a hoot and ha type job, and it is turning into a nightmare very, very, very quickly. So now I think we're going to ask ourselves what is still holding this thing on. Probably some screws. So here's the thing. You will not think that this kick panel comes out with only those 3 bolts, the one in the middle and then the one coming in from each side. But it does. It's just very, very precisely fitting, and you need to kind of carefully work it downwards like this. Of note was that it was making a very tight fit over here on each side, which led me to believe there were additional fasteners, of which there were not. See here and another amazing example of Saab's attention to safety for 1986 and the early 80s, to have such a well-designed energy absorbing structure for the lower knees of the occupant. You wouldn't see stuff like this in American manufacturers until quite a bit later. Of course, that now exposes the screw that I need to remove this lower vent, which was hidden in. All right, so now that I've got this kick panel off, I can actually see what's going on under here, and I've positioned this camera. Liz, if you can look at the camera. You know what I think a big part of the problem is? If you see right here, there's the pivot pin for the clutch where the pedal attaches. Look at this. I'm going to move the clutch. Okay, listen, now look at how much I'm moving the clutch. Okay, I am moving the clutch. Let me grab that. Hand me that tape measure, babe. This is where we come in to the question of distance. Let's look at how much that is that clutch moving. Liz, you tell me. All right, we're almost at 5 3/4. Where are we now? We're at 5. So we're basically moving the pedal 3/4 of an inch before it operates the master cylinder at all. So do we have a quote unquote bleeding problem? Maybe. But is it conceivable that the holes are just wallowed out from 40 years of random idiots bashing on the clutch, right? Yeah, probably. We have 2 things going on. So let's actually try and solve this from root concept. I wanted to mention for the record that these screws that go up through the dash are in no way required to be removed from there. Now I'm gonna come at this clip holding the pin for the master cylinder on, because I want to figure out how wallowed out these things are. There we go. Got that off. Clip, if you can see how it went on. I just used a tool like one of these trim tools. Very handy tool for everything other than their intended purpose. Now I got to get those bolts out. We have the bolt loose off of the pedal. Let's see if we can extract it. So, voila, just as suspected. This is what the hole, the original hole, looked like. That was not made to be that shape, okay? That has worn out over time. And that is the reason for my perceived, quote unquote, lack of bleeding in my clutch. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to weld it up. If we look at the top, the bushing fit is actually pretty tight, right? You have all the surface area, all the bearing surface area up here on the bushing, and then you have very, very high pressure, because the forces are going to be equal on these bushings and these bearings as they are down here on this pin. Well, you don't really have very much bearing surface area right here where the pin for the master cylinder goes in. So I would say this is actually kind of a miss, a rare miss by Saab on this one. Well, it's the next day, and today's a great white lithium day, because you know it's time for it's not one but 2 janky but acceptable fixes are going to be happening today. So you'll notice that the factory earlier had Antonio weld up the area where it was worn out in the pedal. Then I had Hacky precisely drill it for the pin, so we're not going to have any of that slop in there on the clutch. So let's go ahead and reinstall this. But before we do that, let me just talk about this great fix. Okay, so learn about this on the internet. So there's a seal on the beloved Land Cruiser No vehicle has ever left somebody stranded more frequently than this Land Cruiser has left us stranded. Listen, how many times have you been stranded in this Land Cruiser?
At least 2.
So here's the deal. There is a seal between the transfer case and the transmission which has failed. And the reality is the transfer case isn't in the best shape on that thing, so it needs to be rebuilt. But I don't have the personal will or conviction to do that rebuild right now because my entire automotive world is simply too complicated. So we've got the green Saab. We've got the Land Cruiser. We've got this white Saab. There's a guy in Omaha with an identical white early car on Facebook Marketplace for $1,000. But I was about to pay another guy like $100 and some bucks for just the bracket for the air conditioning unit on the 84 car. So I'm quite literally thinking about just picking up this whole car, which I think I'll be able to make run, is more rust-free than this white car. Okay, but he says, oh, it's got some issues. The biggest problem with this car in Omaha is that it's in Omaha. And yeah, so we might pick that one up. Got to get this daily driver kind of, going and ready for winter, because, this is my winter car. But without further ado, so what's happening, anyways, these are the plugs that would have been the plugs for the fill plugs for the fluid in the transfer case and the transmission. So what happens in the Land Cruiser is as you drives, for whatever reason, the fluid from the transfer case, when the seal's bad, migrates into the transmission, overfills the transmission. And this is a common thing. So this is a hack where I machined out put a pipe plug into the end of the plugs, and we're simply going to let the fluid circulate around between the transfer case and the transmission because they run the same fluid. Anyways, let's finish this Saab. Let's understand what's going on with the clutch. It's everybody's favorite time, white lithium grease. But on a serious note, I do love to put white lithium grease all over everything, and it's not just like people have said, oh, what's the name of your channel, blah, blah. No, it's because at the end of the day, so many automotive problems are alleviated with white lithium grease. Including the pins. And so anytime you have a plastic bushing, something like these that are on the clutch pedal, why not stick a little white lithium on there? Why the heck not? Okay. So the way I'll go about that is I'll actually just kind of dip it. Ooh, yeah. Dip it, yeah. That's good. And of course that will get over here too. Why not? All right. There we go. We'll call that good. Oh yeah. And then, you know what? Just for posterity, we'll smear a bunch in here too. I remember when I was just a young child living, frankly, next door to where we are right now. And I had this bicycle. And my father, who has a great engineering acumen of his own, although I will say my career has been more successful, basically because I'm better at working with people. But my father looked at my bicycle and he said, Joe, that bicycle is over lubricated and under adjusted. Hey Liz, can you move my hair out of my face? Thank you. I'm almost done with having long hair just because of this. All right, here we go. Yeah, and so ever since then I've thought of the ramifications of being over lubricated and under adjusted, although old Joe, like the old man, does tend to get over lubricated. Hang on, I'm gonna have to go upside down. Cut. Normally I wear a headband, as you all know, but these pliers, I've talked about them before. I bought them at that great hardware store in Boulder, Colorado, on a road trip when I actually had picked up my van. And yeah, one of the greatest hardware stores in the country, for sure.
Not gonna be able to get that anymore.
This is just like a frickin' grind in here.
Do you want to grab the camera to show what
Oh
you're
God,
putting it
no!
into?
Tell me it's not true. Tell me I didn't. Well,
What's wrong?
the clevis. Come on, baby. What's up here? Fuck me. Fuck me. Did I put the hole too far in from the end? No, oh, it's the wrong hole. Sorry. Wrong hole. That's always Joe's problem. Oh, wow. Thank God. Alright, here. So, how can I get up on there? Oh, Lord have mercy. I really don't want to remove this fucking stupid piece. So, how can I do that?
Are we still shooting this?
Are you on?
Yeah.
Oh, you're shooting? No!
I'm shooting it.
Why are you all reassembled in here? Of course, my pin is now super tight fitting, and these stupid things get in my way, so I need to do some pliers. Look at this now, okay? I don't even have the return spring on the clutch. Oh, what are we hitting? What do we got going on there? Okay, good. And you always assume, like I even bought, sitting over there, I've got a new master cylinder. Because I assumed the problem was the master cylinder. Well, problem's not the master cylinder. Problem is more likely, and almost always, in this pedal linkage, okay? So I want you all to remember that. I don't really see any leaking coming out of there. The master cylinder is an incredibly, incredibly simple hydraulic device. And yeah, so if it was leaking, if it was failed, the oil's got to be leaking somewhere. It's just a single seal. It has to be bypassing something. Well, it's not leaking anything. Look, I almost don't even need the return spring on this. It's such a firm pedal. Now, oh, the brake pedal's gonna have the same problem eventually, but you know, c'est la vie. Okay, let's get the spring on here and let's put this bad boy to bed. Okay. We have reattached the spring. All right. So now we have to put the padded knee guard back on. Okay, now we're just gonna basically force this knee pad back into place. You can see the holes right there, right over there. For some reason, that one is bigger, and right, where does this one screw into? Right here. Those are the 3 screws that hold this whole thing on. Just jam it in there, don't be bashful. Okay? This is going to demonstrate it. Stick your foot up on there, just kick it in. There you go. That's the way Saab intended it. It fits so precisely, it's actually beautiful. Now let's see, now watch that. It really is a 2-person job because this doesn't line up perfectly. No, the corner right where the bolt goes through, in the very corner, just push up on it slightly.
Corner?
Yeah. Can you force it up? Maybe with your foot? No, like up vertically.
Like that?
Oh, too much. Actually down slightly. Okay. Hold on. Can you? Magnet right here. And actually use the magnet to help me fish the bolt in here. Now, of course, if I had my Koken nut grip sockets, we'd be all good to go, but don't have them. So one of the beautiful things about the Saab 900 is the fact that it is the easiest car in the entire world to put a seat back in because of the design. Now, you always want to have the tilt all the way forward, okay? Then you just come in here, you just get it hooked on, back at the hook on place. Now, notice also there are 2 settings. There's a higher and a lower setting. Going up back here. All right, so let's get it hooked on. Now we're hooked on. Then we just plug in our stuff that's broken, that doesn't work and probably hasn't worked in decades. But nonetheless, we plug it in because we're good people. And then you just go like this. And of course, and your seat's on. And that's a beautiful thing to have. It's a beautiful thing to have a clutch. Hey babe, could you hand me one of those socket head screws? I think it's sitting right there. Right here. Okay.
Where is it?
Right there by the thing. Yep. Then you just put these 2 screws on and away you go. Actually, can you hand me this that charger adapter right there? Or that hex 3/8 hex adapter? That one, yep. Then we just tighten these 2 screws up and away we go.
The seat got in safely.
So the car it only has 180,000 miles on it, but it's seen, oh boy. It must have seen some rough clutching, okay? Some clutch situations. God damn, that is my favorite. By the way, for me in LaCroix currently, it is the Guava Sao Paulo. Oh my word. That is so much clutch travel. I almost don't even know what to do with it. Oh my God. So yeah, so all of you people, see, I think one of the things also, and I think I'm actually gonna close this segment with a conversation about how the master cylinder actually works. Because it only has 2 components. It has a piston, okay? Whoa, it's like driving a new car. Whoa. Crazy. Whew. Let's get some AC on in here. Yes, the AC works. And, oh my word, that's crazy. So much travel. You don't even, now it has so much travel, instead of just holding it against the floor all the time, you don't need to hold it against the floor. So I'm gonna have to kind of recalibrate the way I drive. Those would be the AC belts. Nothing to see there. Okay, but we're gonna count this as a massive success in terms of just like, obviously I didn't need the clutch master cylinder. Oh, and the pickup point is so far up now. God, I have to move my seat back. Wait, my seat's all the way back. Yeah. Huge success. Now here's the kicker. How many people out there with, I was told by this guy from Red Arrow Saab Parts on Facebook last night, we were talking about a different subject, shift linkage, but he was like, yeah, no, I saw your post on Facebook about that clutch pedal, you know, they fixed it on the later cars, like 87 and later. And my whole thing is like, so I'm noticing, I must have been right on that edge of not having enough clutch travel to truly disengage the clutch, because I'm noticing right now that first gear is easier to engage. It is a lot easier to get that shift gear to go into first than it was before. So that's really telling me something. How many people have had transmission problems, or what they perceive to be transmission problems, that were either the byproduct of or mistakenly the perceived to be transmission problems because their clutch pedal has worn out, right? How many people do I see on the Saab 900 Facebook forum that are like, I can't get my clutch to bleed no matter what? Well, maybe it's so worn that you can't get the piston to retract far enough to actually keep itself bled by allowing fluid into the clutch from the reservoir. Okay? This this to me, this little fix is the root of so many problems for early Saab owners, okay? And with that, that's another episode of White Lithium Eurotrash. Peace out.